Hey YouTube, Mochismo Eugene, another video from Exit Strategy. Today's video is titled Why Looking Back Doesn't Turn You into a Pillar of Salt, but Salt of the Earth. Think about it for a little while. You know the biblical story, maybe some of y'all don't. I'll bring you up to par on that story. I'll give you the quick of it. Biblically speaking, Lot's wife, when God said that he was going to come in and destroy the city because of all the immoral stuff that they were doing with no regards to God in their life. So as Lot and his wife were forewarned to get out of the city, Sodom and Gomorrah, as Lot was running out or getting out, I don't know if they were running, but as he was leaving with his wife, she turned around and looked back. And the instructions were to keep moving forward, not looking back. And when she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. So that's how that story goes. And a lot of people today will tell you, don't look back, just keep moving forward. I believe, in essence, a narcissist penned that statement. Don't cry over spilled milk. Don't look back. Keep moving forward. There's some truth in that, but it all depends on how you look back and for what reason. How you look back and what it does for you in an attempt to move forward. People say, I'll forgive, but I don't forget. That's kind of like one of those things. Forgiveness is a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. Everybody can't forgive. They don't have a heart of forgiveness. Thank God that you can forgive. And if you haven't been able to forgive, find a place in your heart to forgive any and everybody who's mistreated you and done you wrong. Because in doing so, you also are going to be forgiven for the things that you've done. Maybe not by the people that you want to forgive you, but forgiveness by the Creator. You give grace and grace shall be given to you, I believe. So anyway, the title is Looking Back Doesn't Turn You into a Pillar of Salt, but Salt of the Earth. As God said in the book, the good book, the Bible, he said, you shall become the salt of the earth. Now, it's interesting that Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt, but with that same token, salt is a purifying agent. It's natural, it's from the earth, but it has a lot of strengths to it. It cleanses our water. It purifies the water. It also is used in bleach, chlorine, sea salt. It's also used to cure meat and preserve it. It's a preservative. And it's also used as a flavoring in our food. There are many other reasons where salt can be a benefit. And it's ironic that this woman got turned into a pillar of salt. So salt really gets a bad rap. So you're looking back is what I want to point out to you guys is it will also cause you to be salt of the earth, looking back at some of the things that the narcissist took you through. You're looking forward to, wow, I have to look back at those things so I don't forget, and be vigilant and observe the things in which I didn't do or I did a certain way that caused me to put me in that predicament. And this will go with the territory as you begin to heal. You'll begin to look back at instances as they arrive or as they present themselves in the present moment. You'll say, it'll be a total recall. And the reason why I'm talking about this title, because there's a short story I'm going to tell you about where there was a gentleman that's in law enforcement, and we became great friends as a result of my custody battle with the kids. I become great friends with a few law enforcement officers Because at the end of the day, they're human. They're men just like you and I, and a couple of female officers as well. And I actually am employed, or I work for a couple of state officers right now, property management. So I say that because, you have people talking down, disparaging, insulting the police force, but if something should happen bad, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters, you're going to call law enforcement. So we need police. As corrupt as some of them are, we do need law enforcement because man can't behave. Never will be able to, in and of himself, apart from God. Oh, excuse me, guys. This officer had a wife that worked at the college I went to, and for some reason he had heard about some things about my past and my story of going to prison, and looking forward, he had seen some things that I would do in the community that were noteworthy. He saw I had a positive influence on the community, I guess. And so he stepped to me and he said, man, what do you think about, my wife works in the college and she's the head of a certain program, and what do you think about going into the prisons with her and speaking and helping her and be a mentor? And I said, yes. I normally would not agree to that, but me and you have such a great relationship, friendship, and you asking me that, off cuff, I am flattered and I'm honored that you would think that I'd be a candidate to do that. And I said, why not? I'd do it. I said, I'll try it anyway. If it's not something that I'm comfortable with, I always got an option to get out of it, right? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm looking to a few things and then I'll get back with you. That never happened. This was quite a few years ago, even before the narcissist. And consequently, I had heard, and this is vetted through the community, that he had somehow or another gotten a girl pregnant outside of his marriage, and she was not, well, I guess not being of the same race, that doesn't matter, but she was from a different country, living here in America. Of course, I guess she was born here in America, but her family is from a different country. So he being African American, she not being African American or of a black descendant or heritage is what I'm trying to get at. So his wife, I'm sure, took issue with it just because of the fact that he did commit infidelity, but some women of color seem to take that as a double insult if it's someone outside of their own race. And I just said that for emphasis because what had happened, she didn't divorce him. She moved out of the area in which I'm in right now. He is still employed here and he's an officer here in this community, but she moved outside of this county in an attempt to distance him from this woman. And by the way, he had a child out of wedlock with this girl, and she was young, I think about 19, 20, and he was probably around 45. So all of these things I'm just emphasizing to give you a picturesque idea of what the dynamics were. And I bring this subject up because remember him asking me to do this philanthropy work or this volunteer work. I kind of look back at that as that he was possibly a narcissist, and narcissists use you as smoke screens to perpetuate their side chick, side agenda, side hustle. They'll have you thinking that they want you to come on board and do this, do that, get on this committee with us, get on that. And the narcissists, obviously, they need to recruit people to make themselves look good. And in this instance, I think this officer, who I believe was a narcissist, he needed me to go inside of this prison with his wife so he could do two things here: make himself look good by way of the wife, and garner the attention and the fuel source that he needed from me, thanking him and appreciating him. Even if he isn't a narcissist, he was using me as a smokescreen, I see looking back. And so I need to let you guys know, a lot of times when we look back, it doesn't turn us into a pillar of salt. It makes us go on to be a salt of the earth, because the things that we look back in retrospect or hindsight, in the rearview mirror, I like to say, when you look in that rearview mirror, you can see the carnage that you escaped, that a lot of people did. And just bear in mind, when somebody placates this friendship and they leverage a friendship with you and want you to do over the top stuff, not really knowing you that well, but somehow or another drawing off of your essence and want to sign you up to do things. Be leery and wait for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop, as they say, because vet these people, authentically find out that they are who they are. And this is a complexity in a sense, because this takes time to really see if this person really wants you on board for the right reasons to do the thing that they're asking you to do. But as I always say, just stay vigilant, pay attention, observe, and if your intuition tells you something just seems out of pocket, press on the brake a little bit. See that person and say, well, let me think about it. And I'm happy that that didn't happen, because God forbid, me and this woman up in prison doing this volunteer work, trying to, talk to these prisoners. And he's out here just using all this spare time to play games. And I kind of admired him. And I'm not judging him because he got a child out of wedlock, but I am looking at that as that with that girl was happening during the time I believe he asked me to do this work in the prisons with his wife. And it's kind of slapped in the face. So that's what I wanted to talk about. When looking back doesn't cause you to turn into a pillar of salt, but salt of the earth. Go be great. That being said, bless.